Hello and welcome to Core Values, the All Things Broken Arrow Public Schools podcast. I am your host, Greg Spencer, and with me, as always, is Superintendent Chuck Perry. Chuck, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Awesome to be back. It's our first episode of 2025, and we have two very special guests today. We have Christina Gould, our Special Olympics and Unified Champions coach. How are you doing, Christina?
I'm doing great.
Great to have you. And with you today, we have the president of Unified Champions for the high school students. We have Miss Ina Rosado. Ina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right. So we are very excited about having you guys today. And we just want to kick things off. We'll start with Christina. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to Broken Arrow and how you ended up here.
So that's a long journey. But I actually grew up in Catoosa, played soccer in Catoosa. I came to Broken Arrow for 1 year.
Did you play soccer with Tara?
I did. I did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
Tara and I go way back.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah. She graduated, I believe, the year before me. Yeah.
Good.
But I went to college soccer, blew my knees out, had to take a different route. So, but ended up back here in BA, and I love it. I love the atmosphere.
What year was that you first ended up in BA?
We moved here in 2017. Yeah. So it's been a little bit.
And tell us a little bit more about what all you do for the district.
I am the high school special education teacher and the district's head coach for Special Olympics. I have been coaching the Special Olympics team for 7 years now. I got into the special education classroom kind of by chance. I've taught elementary physical education for 10 years. When I was asked to coach the Special Olympics team, I jumped at it immediately. When we took over the team, it was 3 sports, spring only, and just a small number of students participated. I saw the need for it to grow. I saw what it could be, and I said, I've got to be at the high school. I don't know what I can do to get there, but I've got to be at the high school. So
a little bit of your competitive nature coming back
just
out
a little
as well,
bit,
right?
just a little bit, yeah. So I started researching, PE positions. They're not going anywhere. That's okay. They're great PE teachers. But I said, you know what, I'm going to have to go into the classroom. So I started the path to get my special education degree, and here I am.
So was there something in life that triggered you to be a part of Special Olympics? A lot of times I feel like it's a calling in life to be involved with our students in that area.
Yeah, I think it's definitely always been on my heart. When I was in middle school, my mom married a gentleman who had a son with special needs, and he was very heavily involved in Special Olympics out in Coweta. So I've been around it for a while.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great.
So talk to us a little bit about and we'll get to introducing Ina here in a second, but tell us a little bit about, for those that are watching that don't know the difference between Unified Champions and Special Olympics and how they kind of work together.
So Unified Champions is our school program. So it's for school sites specifically. It's a club, for lack of a better term. It's an after school, before school, during school club. That the school district, the school site can do pretty much anything they want with, and it looks different at every site. Unified or Special Olympics is the sports side of that, and being involved at the state level and the area level and competing and the national level. Yeah.
And you talked about when you first took over, we only had a couple sports, and now where are we at as a district?
I wrote them down so I didn't lose them. We've got 14 different sports and activities now, and we go pretty much year round. I don't touch my email in June. That's that's about it. But we have unified cheer, unified soccer, unified esports, art, music and dance, swimming, powerlifting, unified bocce, unified cornhole, track and field, unified track relay team, young athletes, which is our under 8 group, and that's anyone that is involved in the district at any age. So as long as you're enrolled, you can come out and compete with that. And then motor abilities.
Awesome. And you said there were 3 when you started, or
There were 3.
3,
Yeah.
and you've grown it
Yes.
to this level.
Yeah.
And a couple of those that you mentioned have won state championships in the last year or so. Talk about those.
We are back-to-back state champions in unified esports. We have a national championship with unified esports also. And then we just recently won the unified cheer state championship for OSSAA.
And how many other, in Oklahoma and on a national level, just give us an idea of like how many other programs are competing in those things?
Well, the area and regional events are numerous, but at the state level, OSSAA, there were 6 teams that made it into that final cut.
All right, so speaking of unified champions, we have the president here of the Broken Arrow High School Unified Champions. Tell us a little bit about Ina and how she came to get involved and introduce her for our audience.
Yeah, so Ina is a senior at the high school this year, and she came into our program. Actually, she was in the classroom first, so she was hanging out with our kids on a daily basis and coming in as in an internship program that we have at the high school. She was so good with the kids, so good with the kids. And I had several of my volunteer coaches that said, you know what, she's got to be a part of the team. We got to figure it out. The kids flock to her. My athletes flock to her. Yeah.
What does it mean to hear things like that about yourself?
It makes me feel good that I know that like I'm making an impact in these kids' lives.
Very cool. And what drew you to, obviously you were in the classroom first, but what drew you to this position?
I was in the classroom. I didn't really know anything about the program. I heard about it and I just said I want to like join it, not necessarily be an officer or anything, but just see what it is. And I grew to enjoy it a lot, and here I am.
Awesome. How do you all go about recruiting students to be involved in it?
We have a club rush at the beginning of the year that the officers set a table up at, and they try to recruit people that way. And really, right now it's word of mouth. Just athletics helps with that. The high school helps with that. When they push out information about us, people start automatically asking, "Hey, where can I get involved? How can I find that?" And I can get them plugged in with their Unified Champion advisor at their school site. So, is
there room for more of our high school students to be involved with Special Olympics, and are you needing more people?
Absolutely. We will take anybody at any time. That's the beauty of our program is, we offering 14 different things. Not everybody's going to be involved in everything.
Right.
They're not crazy like I am. But they can, kind of pick and choose, or if you're in a spring sport and you only have time in the fall, or if you can only come, some of our best peers even can't come to any practices because they've got so much going on. They're busy working, but whatever we have during the school day, they can be a part of and they want to help. And we take everybody.
I love it.
How many students would you say are participating at all the different levels that we have of Unified Champions?
So across the district, we have over 300 in our delegation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's pretty impressive. And one of the things I've noticed is just like the continued growth and support you get from the student body, and like Jungle Squad coming out to things. And so what does that mean to you to have that?
That is everything. That is everything that our kids have ever wanted and deserved. That's the reason that I came to the high school, was to make those connections. Getting involved with athletics and the way that athletics has wrapped around us and just taken us in as one of their own that was the game changer for us. That was when people started noticing, oh, hey, there's a spot. Oh, hey, my kid can do that. So
that's great.
I think that's a big thing too, because you want the inclusion of you guys are playing sports, be a part of the athletic program, and I think that's something that, like you said, is special, seeing the athletic program take you guys under your wings and include that as well.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the school districts have district support and they have community support. There's very few of them that have the support from athletics that we do here in BA. So we are very lucky.
Is there a special student or story that sticks out in your mind, makes you happy to think about?
So when I first started my internship, none of the kids really talked to me. So I was like kind of nervous. It was my first time like being in something like that. So I just kind of sat there and let them like, warm up to me.
Right.
And there's one student that we really got connected, and he started like opening up more and like letting me help him and things like that.
Very cool.
Great.
Very cool.
Great. What sport did he play?
He does cheer and cornhole, I think.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a cool thing about it, all the variety of things that they can excel at, and gives them a chance that, may not have had to cheer them on in a regular school setting that we've known, that we are familiar with for so many years in school. The opportunities now with Special Olympics, Unified Cheer, and now our Stars on Stage, the musical for special ed students. We love it.
That's coming up pretty soon, right?
It is.
That,
Their opening
couple
weekend
more weeks,
is February
2 or 3
7th.
weeks?
Yeah.
Tell us about your schedule and how much time you dedicate to Special Olympics.
My schedule gets crazy. That's why I turn it off in June. But we dedicate about 4 nights a week to Special Olympics, to practices. We have a lot of volunteers now. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be just me and my husband and a couple of volunteers that were, coaching all of the sports. But we have been blessed, and I now let the volunteer coach pick what day works best for them and kind of what space works best for them. And as long as it's available within the district, that's where we practice at. And that has been incredibly helpful, because sometimes I don't have to be at all of them, which is nice. But I do still like to pop in and say hi to everybody. And of course I still coach the things that are most precious to me. So
what's a typical practice look like for you guys? And talk a little bit about just how many different volunteers you do have that are in the different areas.
We have at least 3 volunteer coaches at each of our sports. Parents stay and help. Unified peers come out and help, depending on the sport. For example, swimming, their entire varsity team just took over our practices, and it was fantastic. So right now swimming is only for the students at the high school that are on campus here, because I pick them up after school, and then we go directly over to practice, and we practice right after varsity, and those kids stay and they help, and then they get to go with us to compete, and it's a big fun day. So
it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share any success stories, notable experiences from students and staff that you can think of, just something that really touches your heart?
There are so many. There are so many success stories in this program, and I think that's why I'm addicted to it, because I love seeing the joy on their faces. But one in particular that stands out, he was a senior. He actually graduated 2 years ago, but he decided his senior year he wanted to do every sport that he could. So he signed up for everything, and track was the one he was the most nervous about. And he signed up for a sprint relay, and he looked at me before he took off for his competition, and he said, Coach, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. And I was like, buddy, you can do it. We've been practicing. This is what it's for. And he looked at me and he took off in the fastest little power walk he could have ever done. And it was the most adorable thing. And he looked at me and he said, at the end, he got through it, and he threw his hands in the air and he said, Coach, I didn't know I could do it. I didn't think I could do it. It was awesome.
That is awesome.
Ina, do you have a moment like that you can remember, as a peer out there kind of cheering and coaching these kids on that stuck out to you?
Yeah, when we won state, all of the girls were like, oh my gosh, we won. I'm like, yay. And we all took pictures, and it was so much fun seeing them with their medals, and it was precious.
It was.
Cool.
I did a video with the group and watched them perform, and just makes me proud. And that was the first OSSA Unified State Championship.
It was.
Talk about the state Special Olympics that happens is it May?
In Stillwater.
In Stillwater.
Yeah, that's Summer State Games. We take a handful of our activities to that. So some of them they don't compete during Summer State Games, but this year we'll take 4 or 5 different ones. We take middle school and high school to stay the night with us. Elementary, if they want to compete, they can come up with their parents on their competition day. And then we take as many unified peers as we can because we spread out. I like to be 1-to-1 if we can. And, that way, even if it's not a unified event, so if it's a track, a run that they're not having anybody run with them, they still have somebody there cheering them on. That's their person. But it's so much fun. It's 3 days right now. It's the last 3 days of school. Yeah.
Do they stay in the dorms and
yes.
stuff?
Yeah. That's why it's so later.
About how
so
many
much later
kids
in there.
statewide are involved in that?
Special Olympics Oklahoma has the largest summer state games I believe it's in the nation.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
It's the track, the way that they do their track program. They bring in so many teams, and I don't have those numbers handy, but I know it's a lot. It's a lot. They do a lot of really good things at the state office.
So with all the stuff that you guys are currently doing and all the sports that you listed, is there some things that you're looking to add here in the future?
Well, our newest one that we've added is the unified track relay. So this will be our first year for it. We're kind of excited to see what that looks like, but it'll be 2 athletes and 2 peers, and they just do, the 4 laps around the track, and it's a relay with a baton. So we'll see. That gets interesting and tricky, but it's a lot of fun.
Do you have many students that have now graduated, moved on, that you see that come back and?
We do.
That's
we do.
awesome.
So the Transition Academy that we have here at Broken Arrow actually kind of added a unique opportunity to allow students who are still enrolled in Broken Arrow Public Schools, but maybe have already graduated, to still compete with our team. So they're not fully disconnected yet.
That's great.
They get to come back and compete with us. They couldn't compete on the OSSAA teams or events, but everything else we can enroll them in. So.
That's great that they're still plugged in and want to be a part of things, and I think that's the beauty of it. It's a highlight probably in their school career, but coming back, we want them involved, inspire them to do bigger and better things in life past this.
Absolutely. And the special thing about Special Olympics is that they can compete forever. I mean, there is something for every age, every ability level, and they can continue on as long as they want to. About 5 years ago, one of the moms of a student who graduated, so this is, of course, was before the Transition Academy, said, I don't know what we're going to do. And she started an alumni team. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Then when they finish with us, they have somewhere to go with faces that they recognize, which is nice.
It's awesome.
With all the growth and success you guys have had in this program, do you have conversations with other districts in terms of, how to help them kind of achieve that status, or, what advice do you typically give them?
Absolutely. I would not be here without the mentors.
And same way. I'm sure you've gotten a lot of advice from others.
Absolutely. So it's funny because it's kind of come full circle now. So Owasso, Susan St. John, the head coach out there, she helped me a ton. The head Special Olympics coach at Catoosa was actually the same Special Olympics head coach that was there when I was in high school. Oh, wow. So she just retired last year, but she's still heavily involved in the team. And between the two of them, I don't know that I would have figured out how or what to do. But now
are you returning that favor to other districts?
And so that's the nice thing is Special Olympics Oklahoma has seen what we're doing with Unified Champions and how many schools we have across the district that are involved and doing well and doing big things and getting noticed for it. So they ask me all the time, hey, can I give your information out? Yes, please do.
That's great.
How can listeners, parents, students, et cetera, how can they get involved if they're not already involved?
They can email me at my school email. We'll
put that right up here on the screen for you.
Like I can say it, but it's easier if you do that. Email me through my school email or plug in at your site level. Most of our school sites have we have how many? 12 across the district, Unified Champion schools. And if you don't have it, ask somebody how you can start it. Because I would love to have it district-wide.
Love it. Ina, can you talk about the one thing, what it's done for your life, like what you've gained from it?
So Unified Champions has definitely helped me find my career path and what I want to do after graduation.
Are you going to come back be a teacher for us here?
Maybe.
Oh boy, we'd love that. We love that.
Any advice to fellow students that may be thinking about getting involved in this kind of stuff that you would, if they're thinking about it, might push them over the edge to jump in, and that leads us to freezing for a reason. That might be a good start there.
We'll jump in.
Pun intended. Any advice?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it, and you're scared, just do it. There's so many people out there that are gonna show you what to do, help you out, just make you feel encouraged. That's what our whole club is about, is inclusion. So putting yourself in there is not only including our students, but it's also including yourself. If you feel discluded with the school, it helps you feel closer to the school, and it makes the school feel smaller. So
man,
you're more connected.
Love it.
Good answer.
Great.
Speaking of freezing for a reason, that's coming up here pretty soon. Tell us a little bit about that event, how long we've been doing it, and how others can get involved.
It is. So Freezing for a Reason has been going on since before I took over the team. So it's been on for a while. It is a way that athletics has come up with to kind of give back to our team. A lot of the booster clubs write a check and send it to us as a donation, and then their kids come out and support us, and they jump in the pool. We just a couple years ago started a traveling trophy for the team that brought out the most. Soccer's won it the last 2 years in a row. Just throwing that out there. Awesome. But we love watching the kids come out and being there for us, and adults too. There's always a big group of adults. The Broken Arrow Police Department comes out. They put a group together. I think it's their rookies that they make them get in. So that's a lot of fun.
Mr. Perry, have you done it recently?
I have probably been a couple years.
I put you on the spot there. To clarify, I have not done it myself. Yes. I'm there filming it as always, but I always chicken out, and last we were talking. Dan Hawk was supposed to get in it last year, and he bailed on me. So.
Yeah,
it's
last year would have been the year to do it.
It wasn't that cold last year.
Cold after we had to move the date. Yeah, because it was way too cold the first date.
Is there anybody that you would like to see do it this year that hasn't done it besides Mr. Perry?
I've done it. I just haven't done it in a while.
I actually just had a conversation with a couple of other varsity head coaches, and what I would like to see is the teams raise money to boys and girls to see whose varsity coach is going to have to go in, because there are very few varsity coaches that get in the water. They have their kids go out, they encourage it, but I think it would be fun if they could come up with some kind of challenge.
Well, you did tell me, and maybe to get this kick started, you did tell me off air earlier that Coach Hill has said he's going to be there. So
yeah, he said he's going to be the first one in.
Football coach in there and wants to be the first one in. The others should follow.
Yeah,
challenge it. It's they say it's healthy too to do it. So
yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Cold plunges are all the rage now.
That's right. We're just improving health and wellness all around.
Right.
Are you going to do it this year?
I'm not.
All right, so that's any other final things that you want to talk about that we might have missed out on before we wrap things up?
I just, thank you to the district and the community for what you continue to allow us to do. There's been very few times that I've come to the district with something and say, hey, I want to do this. I see this for the team, and they say yes every time. So I love that.
Well, the thank you back to the both of you, the time that you spend. And we're just grateful that we have such awesome people at Broken Arrow that really want to give of themselves to our students. I think it's special, and I have so much respect for both of you all.
Thank you.
Well, we'd like to thank Christina Gould and Ina Rosado for joining us here on this episode of Core Values. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And not too late. By the time this comes out, you can still sign up for Freezing for a Reason and help give back and get involved. So, Mr. Perry, thanks for joining us as always, and we will see you next time.